Hey, I'm making this video because I saw an American guy getting very confused about gig economy and he didn't seem to understand it. I guess he'd never done it, so making a video was a bit silly, but either way. So what exactly is the benefits of gig economy compared to your standard work, working say in an office or working in a physical job? Well, the main advantages is you can basically work as much or as little as you want. You work 1 hour a month, you can work 100, 1,000, it's really your choice. You can work whatever you want. You can also, as a whole, charge whatever you want. You can charge £50 to complete a job, $2,000, 3,000, 500. You can charge really whatever you want. There is no limit to what you can really sell online in most cases. As long as it's legal or allowed for whatever reason, you can basically sell it. I just typed in sale, so let's look at all these sort of things. So you could potentially be selling this thing, as this one's doing like a lady. You could be getting paid £34. You could be doing that, getting 17. You could be getting 148 to optimize a website. You could get paid 93, 85, 12, 12, 17, 251, 425. Now, you may be thinking, but no, you can't sell that much on Fiverr. You can actually sell high quality things on Fiverr, but people generally think it's more a cheap place over the name is a Fiverr, that's what things of views should cost. But people will still buy this. You can see this one. This one's on £80. According to that, he's had at least 1,000 sales. This one as well for £333. He's had, according to that, he's had 2 sales. So again, that means according to that, he's made £672.48. So that's not bad. Now, if he reduced his price, he would probably get more sales. That's true. But either way, he's still getting. Look at that guy. He's on 421. He's got, according to that, 500 sales. So again, look at that as a logical thing. If he's got 500, that means, for this one known as Rank Harvest, that means this person as a whole has made more money than most people doing a general job. For example, let's say you work at McDonald's. Let's say you're a sales assistant. Let's say you're a taxi driver or something else. This guy's made more money by quite a large amount. Or look at this guy. His prices are cheaper. He's 25. With him doing 1,000, depending of course where exactly this guy lives, he probably has made some pretty good money. 25 times 1,000 is an alright amount of money. Let's look at this one at £63.84. Again, according to that, he's had 819 sales. And I heard a guy bring up as well, which I thought was a bit strange, this whole concept that you don't have a union protection. Okay, in a lot of big companies now, they don't allow you to be part of unions, so that whole idea again doesn't really make any sense. It just seems a bit sort of like someone who's trapped in like a 1950s or older thinking the unions are so important. And if you look into things as a whole, in a high proportion of cases, if your business went on strike or your jobs people went on strike, in most cases, if you're part of a union, your union would do very little to protect you. In most cases, by very little, almost nothing. So if you believe that being part of a union is going to now make you immune from any trouble, I'm afraid that's not how unions work. Unions can be great, it can be a good place to make friends, all the rest of it, but it's not going to protect you in most cases. So the idea of a union regarding traditional jobs, if you're in a gig economy, you're not part of a union, that apparently means you're got no protection. Again, in most normal jobs in the Western world, you don't really have much protection anyway, so that whole idea of apparently unions can save a day, that doesn't make any sense, even slight sense. If you look into the history of unions as a whole, you will find in a high proportion of cases when unions go on strike, what generally happens in reality? Well, to be honest, what normally seems to happen in my research and what I've done, the majority of people who actually go on strike generally get a sack. The people who don't get a sack often either keep the same wage or even sometimes get promotions in some cases. I'm not saying that you shouldn't strike, but you should be aware in a lot of cases, if you go on strike for whatever reason, people will generally replace you. That's how the world works. As a whole, almost everyone in the world is basically replaceable in jobs. That is basically part of why gig economy became so cool or popular was, because you can basically, if you get someone replaces someone else for you, then you can get paid or they can get paid for someone else as well. It's a very fast moving thing regarding gig economy for how things work. You can also get paid anywhere from £100 a month to 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. There's basically not really much limit to how well you do it. Now, as you basically get better and more experience, you get more money, then you can employ people to do it for you, so then you're more of a management team and they're sort of your staff, that kind of stuff. That's the things you can do as well. But again, the whole concept that the guy was putting forward, it's risky, you can replace any moment, that kind of stuff. Yes, that's true, but anyone who's basically experienced the 2008 recession would know that's been going on for a long time period. When the 2008 recession came, most people found as a whole they could have been on a really good job. For example, maybe around £200,000 per year. When their company went into recession, then all their money went, then they basically never got that money again, or very unlikely to get again. That as a whole made most people in my sort of generation or people older than me realise you can as a whole be replaced very easy. You may not like that or think it's wrong, that's your choice, but that is the world we live in. This is why the whole concept that he was putting forward that gig economy is bad, slavery or something like that, he was suggesting, it doesn't really apply. This can basically give people all around the world many opportunities. For example, let's just say you live in a poor country. It doesn't really matter which one. You live in a poor country. You get paid a wage in total of £2,000 per month doing gig work. So when it's converted from pounds into your currency, you basically make enough money to have a very good lifestyle in your country. So does that mean we should then say, according to this guy, that's wrong as a whole? That doesn't make sense to me, but that seems what he suggested. You should be aware, gig economy can do many things. It can help someone who, say, for instance, like a single mother. It can help someone who's a college student, someone who's just busy in their life and needs an extra job to make money, whatever the reason is. Gig economies can do many different things. You can also in Fiverr sell more as anything. For example, you can sell I think it's Tourette. Sorry, I always say the name wrong, but it's basically card reading, where you basically tell in theory fortune people. You could do something like that as a job. You may think that's a strange idea if you're getting paid money to, in theory, tell people's fortune, but some people are into that kinds of stuff. You can basically get paid money to be a voice actor. For example, maybe you've got say a Mumbai accent. Maybe there's someone that needs a Mumbai actor for some reason. You could get paid maybe £50, £100, whatever, to be a voice actor. Maybe you've got a Canadian voice. You can do a Canadian accent, which for some reason someone needs a Canadian guy or girl, whatever. It doesn't matter. You can basically get paid on Fiverr or any sites as a whole doing gig work for more as any money you want. There's not really much of a limit to what you can get paid. This is something he never really seemed to think over as a whole. He was basically too into a negative side rather than the positive side. Now, I'm not saying as a whole there's no negative sides to gig economy or gig work. There definitely is. But compared to traditional work in a lot of cases, I would say gig is better in most cases. Because at least in gig, you have the options to reject or accept any work. If you don't want to do a job, you just say, look, thanks for your offer, but I'm not interested. Please try someone else. That's all you have to do. He also put forward the idea, which I thought was a bit strange, a bit silly. He put down the idea that you can't negotiate your wage. Again, that makes no sense. Any job you do in the world, you are allowed to ask for a pay rise or get more money. You're allowed to do it. For example, if you're doing a job which you've got paid for, say, 2 or 3 years, for example, £100 for a little job, takes a couple of hours. If you've done it for a few years for different clients, different people, you would be able to ask if you wanted to for, say, £125, £150. If you want to go up that way, you would be able to. Now, I'm sure there's be some people will tell you no, it's not acceptable, it's too expensive, but there will be people who will be, so you can negotiate your wage up. As a whole, in the world we live in, you can get paid more as any money in the world for doing things, whether you're a coder, a website designer, a programmer, a content writer, a video editor, a marketer, an accountant, a lawyer, whatever, it doesn't matter. You can basically get paid more as any money you want. The only thing you have to do, which is important, is you have to brand yourself as an expert in your key area. For example, if we were going to market ourselves as a SEO person, we would have to do something which makes us stand out. What exactly is it something we're the best at? Maybe we're the best at on-page. If we're the best at on-page, and that's what we want to market ourselves as, we would then put down some examples of sites we fixed. For example, 10 sites we fixed to improve the on-page, we improved the speed, we improved the content layout, and so on. So we could use that as evidence to support this is what we want to be known. We're the on-page expert, or we're the backlink expert. That's what you have to be aware of when it comes to these sort of things. It's about marketing yourself as the master, the expert, the king, the queen, whatever you want to call it, in regards to your area. That's what you should be aware of if you want to do gig economy. But as a whole, it has made many people successful because Fiverr, in some cases, I think gets a bit of an unfair reputation for being like a place where, only bad things are bought, which I would disagree. There is a lot of high quality people, there's some okay people, there are some bad people, sure, we're not good at things, that's true, but there still is a good amount of things you can find. Now, you may have to spend a week searching for things, or even longer sometimes, to find something which is basically the best of the best, or something you want. That's definitely true. But if you search, you can find basically anything. I mean, just for example purposes, I would say as a whole, to be fair in this guy, now I've never used them, so I don't know, but just for example here, I would say Wix SEO services is kind of rare. It's not that common. Because most people who do SEO generally don't recommend Wix. They generally prefer WordPress or something else. But I would say as a whole, him doing Wix SEO sort of stuff is something of value to a community. So you could argue him doing Wix is something good. You can also see as a whole, he's had basically 28 paid clients in regards to this sort of service. Or this guy's had 99. So we can see all these different things that people could basically be employing people for. For example, this one, according to that, for Jacob21, he's had, according to that, 1,000 gigs. So if he's had 1,000 gigs, £157.47, we can probably assume he must have a good service, or people would not keep applying it and he would have made as much. And also, as well, if we work it out, if we times it by that, we can see he would have made a decent enough wage as a whole, or he would have made some money. And then Gurnby's got another one which he seems to have done just as good, or almost just as good. We could say he's doing well. And if we look down these different people, we can see as a whole, you can charge low prices, medium prices, or high prices. There's not really any limit to what you're doing. If we're going to say, we want to do something else, we don't want SEO for whatever reason, let's just say we want to get a video game designed. Or let's say we want to be a video game designer. So, video game creation. Just type in video game. Sorry, it's a wee bit slow. Okay, so let's look at some of these. So, you could be a voice actor. He's getting paid $8.51. He's getting $21.28. If someone was going to make and create a 2D Hypertext Markup Language 5 web game, then you could pay this guy in theory $238.33. Now, according to that, he's had 89 sales. So 89 sales is pretty good. I'll compose cinematic music for your film or video game. So again, you could be doing that. I'll do a motion capture for 3D animation in your game or video. So again, we could hire him or hire someone else. I'll do funny game video editing for you. So again, we could argue that could be quite interesting. That could be quite smart. And again, it is quite cheap. I would say $4.26 or very cheap, really. So again, we could maybe offer that as a service or something else. I'll develop high quality video game on Unreal Engine and Unity. So again, if you don't know, Unity is one of the main places people make video games quite often. So again, we could then say this could be a high quality one. You see, he's got one sale, so you'll probably get more. So there's lots of things you could be doing as gig work. You could be a fitness coach. You could be offering like gig style joinery work, plumbery work, that kind of stuff. So don't feel, if you hear someone complain, gig work's terrible, it's only a small amount of people make any success of it. Yes, there is definitely only a small amount who make it to extreme success levels, but there is quite a lot of people who I'd say are in the middle, who still get good work from it, good money. They still equal average wage or higher in a lot of cases in the middle. So don't feel it's something which is bad or wrong. Anyway, I hope that makes sense to you regarding the gig economy. So if you want to do a gig service, then do it. Go for it. If you can provide a good service or a service you feel is good or great, then you can get paid for it in simple terms. You just have to market yourself, whether it's on Fiverr, your own website, or somewhere else. It doesn't really matter. As a whole, there's lots of things you can be doing to sell as a service. There's no limit. You could sell magic readings. You could sell, for example, for romantic tips. You could basically sell anything. You could sell lessons on how to look after your dog, a cat, hamster, goldfish, tortoise, whatever you got as a pet. There is basically no limit to what you could be doing as a service. That's what a lot of people never really realize. Because when I first heard about someone making like $3,000 doing card reading, I thought at first it was a bit bizarre and a bit funny, but good on the person for doing it. I mean, you can't fault someone hustling to get some money regarding reading cards. And I hope I basically explains it to you. So if you want to do it as a service, then go for it. If you're nervous or you don't feel comfortable, you can ask people for advice. You can ask me. You can ask someone else. Whatever you want. There's lots of people who can teach you about how to do well in gig things. For example, I've met plenty of people who are on like 5,000, 10,000, even higher money per month doing gig work on simply Fiverr or other places like Upworks and Gurus as well. So there's lots of places you can do this sort of work and do well on it. It could be simply Facebook gigs you do it on, Facebook groups, your Facebook profile, your Facebook page, however you want to market yourself. There's lots of ways you can do it. But I would recommend, once you've been doing gig work for a couple of years, if you haven't already, set up a website just for your prices, and that can basically get you extra people going to your site as well, or extra sales. Anyway, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and have a good week.